All right, welcome back to another episode of the Warrior Pod. I'm your host and your blue coat, Kirstin Martinez, and this week I am joined with the Dr. Jones. So, Dr. Jones, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Kirstin Jones. I'm an assistant professor of anthropology at A&M Central Texas. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. I was so glad whenever you reached out because I mentioned to you before we started the podcast about how I had you whenever you took over Dr. Shane's class a couple times. And whenever you spoke, you were just so eloquent.
Oh, wow, thanks.
You're welcome. And whenever you walked in the room, there's just a certain essence about you that I really liked. So.
Okay.
Sorry, is that too many compliments?
Well, thank you. I do take it as a compliment. Likewise, I saw you got, blue coats are always awesome, but I've always had amazing experiences with blue coats, but I saw the podcast advertisement, it was a poster, I think, in Founders Hall, and I was like, oh my God, they have a podcast. I love podcasts. Maybe they'll talk to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So, how did you become a professor here at TAMUCT?
Well, I wish it was more exciting of a story, but I got my PhD from A&M in College Station. So I got that in 2013 now, seems a million years ago. And I was looking for a job, and there was an adjunct position here open. So adjunct's, kind of temporary position. Yeah. And I tried it, and I just really love the campus and the community, and it's just awesome here. And so, and I live nearby, so that was helpful. And eventually a tenure track position came up. And I was able to get that, so the rest is history. I just applied for tenure, so hopefully that will go through. But yeah, so that's how I made it here.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So you've been here since 2013?
Yeah, I've been here since 2013.
Wow, so you've really seen this university grow, huh?
Yeah, totally. In the new building, when I started, we only had, I want to say Warrior Hall had just kind of finished being built, and then Heritage Hall with labs, and so it's just really grown, and the students have been amazing the whole time.
Awesome. So. Yeah. Have you seen the how the students have changed, maybe as far as age demographic, personalities?
I think we've gotten over time a little bit of younger students over time, so that's it hasn't been surprising because I taught before at College Station and Texas State, and so I was used to younger students 18 and 19.
Yeah.
And when I came here, students were a little older, which was fun and interesting. But more recently there's been younger students, which has been kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of different age groups in the classroom, which is always super fun. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. Whenever I came here, I was kind of weird because I wasn't used to being around so many older students. Yeah. But I think the level, especially with social sciences and things like that, they bring such a different perspective that I think that you don't usually get when you go to 4-year universities and you have those 18, 19, 20 students. And whenever you're having discussions and interactions, it's going to be a lot different because they haven't really experienced life yet.
Yes.
So
that's definitely been true. You've got students that have just had more life experiences, so when you ask them to contribute, they have stories and all sorts of fun stuff to talk about. So
especially all the veterans here too. They've been all over the world and experienced so many different people and cultures and learning how they've interacted with them. It's been really cool. I've never left Texas other than a very small amount of vacations. So
well, hopefully soon.
Yeah, crossing my fingers after COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what made you want to study anthropology specifically?
Oh, that's such a hard question because it's what made you want to come here? But it's always been interesting to me. So the topic, anthropology is so broad and there's so many different subfields. There's cultural stuff, there's biological stuff, there's archaeology, so you can learn about the past. So there's so much stuff, and I was always interested not only with the specific subfields, but the fact that you could kind of go back and forth and just be really, just go as far as you wanted to go in terms of research. And so that kind of was what interested me, but also archaeology is awesome and there's just so many cool things. I mean, there's a reason why, people, Indiana Jones and all these things are popular. People want to watch documentaries about the past, and just, that's always interested me. So even from a little kid, so being able to study that and then teach it, every class is amazing. So that's kind of why I picked anthropology.
Oh, that's so cool. I just finished, an intro to anthropology over at CTC because I took it for my philosophy credit, and it was so interesting because we learned about all the different like subtypes of, you know, anthropology.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found to be extremely neat was like there was, I forgot the exact name of it. It was like, I'm going to botch the scientific name if I try, but it's basically like an island that had they discovered like really small skulls and like a certain type of people that had smaller skulls than we did. And
Flores, I think.
I think that I think that was it. I knew it started. It's like. Yeah, you're.
Yeah, I think they're going with Homo floresiensis or something like that. Yeah, they're just smaller than. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so interesting because whenever had our Halloween podcast and we were talking about conspiracies, one of the blue coats believes that giants existed or have existed.
Wow.
And I brought that up from anthropology. I was like, well, I learned about, you know, these people having smaller skulls, so. I mean, how is there not a possibility that maybe in the past there could have been some sort of...
Yeah, or maybe we're the giants. And
yeah, that's true. Like, if they were here and around now, like, how would they react to all of us? And it talked about how, you know, they got out of their small island and, like, their extinction. But all of it was really interesting. And it broke down even further. I had to talk about, like, race and ethnicity, and we had to do discussion boards on it. So it covered such a wide variety of people and subjects that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think whenever they think of anthropology.
Yeah, it is very broad. It is, you can study languages and linguistics and how language works. That's linguistic anthropology. You've got the past and artifacts and, you know, people's past cities and civilizations. That's archaeology, right? Then you've got biological anthropology, which is kind of closer to what you were mentioning, you know, looking at our human ancestors and evolution and, you know, our genetics and all of that, our non-human primates like chimps, and that would all be biological. And then you've got cultural, which is all of your social questions and cultural questions, religion, behavior, all those things. So, I mean, it's so broad. There's something for everybody, really, in anthropology. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any like specific field that you study or like to study the most?
Yes, I am a biological anthropologist. So I'm most interested in the kind of the intersection between biology and culture. So that's what I got my PhD in, and my master's degree were both in biological anthropology. And specifically within that, like you can kind of narrow it down even more, I study bioarchaeology, which is the study of kind of ancient skeletons.
Oh, wow.
So skeletons in an archaeological context, trying to figure out like what diseases they might have had, you know, how they lived in the past. So that's kind of more specifically what I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of reminds me of that TV show Bones.
Oh yes. So I teach forensic anthropology too. And so that will kind of fall into exactly what they're doing on bones. And right now, you know, with the rise of just more information on forensics, that has become like a huge discipline. So I'm teaching that right now. It's actually really fun. We bury a skeleton on campus, a reproduction skeleton.
Oh wow!
And we dig it up every semester. So we do that in the fall. And I really love that class. And the students that take it, a lot of them are criminal justice majors too. So it's been really fun teaching that.
I'm a criminal justice major myself, and I'm a minor in sociology. So I need 9 more credits. I need 9 election credits with CJ. So I'm trying to figure out which ones I want to take next. But forensics is definitely one of the big ones because it is very interesting. Only thing is that I could only do it in a class. I could never do it out in the field because I am extremely squeamish.
Oh, you're squeamish.
I'm so squeamish. Even when I see I watch TV shows like Bones. Just saying it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Like autopsies and like entomology and the bugs and all that stuff. Yeah, it's not really for the faint of heart.
No.
Yeah. I prefer it sounds like kind of morbid. I prefer the bones to be dry and clean with no bugs and stuff on them. But if you go into forensic anthropology, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
You're going to have decomposing and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. So what do you think is like the best part about being a professor? What do you find to be the most fulfilling when teaching anthropology?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say definitely the students is the best part because it's easy for, like, if you've been studying something for years and years and years to get not jaded, but, you've studied it for a long time. What's exciting, new discoveries are exciting, things like that. But when you're teaching students and they're learning about it for the first time, it's kind of infectious, their enthusiasm. They're like, oh my God, I never knew that. That's so interesting. And that's really the most fulfilling part, to kind of see students get interested and watch them learn more. So I think that's the best part about being a professor, but I also really like the research side. So being able to conduct research and go to conferences and that kind of thing.
That's awesome. And I definitely think in colleges that professors probably make one of the biggest impacts on students.
Yeah.
I brought up Dr. Shane, and I also really like Dr. Q and Dr. Greenwood with criminal justice.
Go social sciences.
Yeah. Join our department. No, I'm just kidding. But being here as a Blue Coat, I talk to prospective students all the time about what we offer in the classes, and so more than just the resources, the level of interpersonal relationships that you're able to have with your professors and have that. So Dr. Shane is actually the reason I got the job as a Blue Coat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the Writing Center. She recommended me for both, and now I plan on going to graduate school for leadership and higher education.
Awesome.
So I love social sciences, but I love talking about school. I love talking to students, and I love getting to interact with faculty and staff like yourself, because a lot of people think that college is too hard, and that a lot of professors don't care. They it's a meme on social media how professors show up 10 minutes before class ends and they're like, do this, or
no, that is not what we have here.
No, definitely not.
We're so, I don't know if I can speak for all faculty, but I know in social sciences, we are so interested in what we do, like our own disciplines. We're interested in our research. And there's nothing more exciting than having students that are really interested and really want to learn. And we do the best, we do the best we can to help them, to talk to them, to see what interests them specifically, and how we can kind of help them, in their writing and all sorts of things, and taking the next step if they ask us hey, what major should I, pursue, or what class should I take next? We're really invested here in our students doing well. That's what we really want. So,
in our classes, I don't know, I think I believe it's 1 to 12 is what the classroom ratio is.
Yeah, it's pretty small here.
Yeah. And I've never, I've had professors stay 30, 45 minutes after class to talk to students about extra things. They are very responsive to emails, and like you said, I've never had a professor turn me away if I needed help.
Yeah, that's really what I don't want to say duty and obligation, but that is what makes kind of our job fulfilling. We want to help you. And when you ask us for help and really are genuinely please help me. We're really willing to work with you and show you the resources. Obviously we can't do everything, but we know where the resources are to help you, get started.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really glad that you reached out to us too, because that's kind of where new student programs and those sort of things kind of come in. Yeah. Because we deal with a lot of the resources. We do the campus cupboard. We help students get registered for to vote. We have the career closet with career professional development. There are so many things here that students that go here for years don't know about until it's too late. And we even have, oh goodness, what's it called? We have, it totally slipped my mind. Whenever, alumni. We even have alumni resources. So if you graduate from here and it's 4 or 5 years later, you can still come back and talk to these programs and these resources because they're still available to you as an alumni.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so many students don't know that. And the best way to do it is with professors. Yeah. Because you're constantly talking to students, you're constantly interacting with them by email and with discussions as well, before even face-to-face and online. You do kind of get to know your students in a different way than we are able to, and you get to talk to them more. So by getting connected with you guys and saying, hey, we do have all these things. Yeah. So if you notice something's happening, please them our way.
We're more than happy to see. A lot of the time is if we don't know, then we can't tell students. But once we find out, and once we're hey, there's all these cool opportunities for students and events and all sorts of things. I know this year's kind of an outlier, but we've got normally, and actually we're going above and beyond with all the limits we got, this semester. But we are more than willing to encourage students to look at those resources and to make use of them, because we really have an amazing community here. We have a lot of opportunities for students, and because we're on the smaller side students really have an opportunity to participate and experience those things in different way than they could at like a really large university.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I started out at a big university. I'm a first generation college student. I felt lost, and whenever I had questions, I felt like I was bothering them. But I've never felt that here, which is something that I really love, and I like the fact that we get to partner with the community colleges around here to bring more students in, and I just, like I said, I love education. I think it's so valuable and it's so important, and I just want to express to people, because I love this university too. Like, this university has definitely changed my outlook, and its professors have changed my life in the best way. So
that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I just wanted to express that a little. So what should students know about anthropology, and why is it important to know?
Ooh, what should we know about anthropology? Well, one thing is really there's something for everybody in anthropology. There's a lot of different parts that, I mean, no matter what you're interested in, you'll probably find something. It meshes well with a lot of minors and majors. But also, I think the most important thing anthropology has to offer is an emphasis on a multicultural perspective. And so instead of just, having a very kind of, I don't know, what's the word? Superficial view on saying, oh yeah, culture's different, we should appreciate all cultures. It is not like that. There is a very strong emphasis throughout the entire curriculum of pretty much every anthropology class that, there are many cultures that exist in the world, that we are not the only ones, like our culture is not the only culture, and that we really have a duty to kind of see the value, the value that others bring to the table, and that when they come together in a community, and our communities in the U.S. are increasingly multicultural in every facet of life. So not just in school, so other students that you come into contact with, but also when you graduate and you go into your career of choice, your workforce, you work with the public, you're going to be dealing with a multicultural atmosphere most of the time, particularly in our region. So that is something that anthropology really brings to the table, and students that take anthropology classes, they get that kind of training and that perspective, and it makes them extremely valuable to employers. It makes them better people, I think, better communicators. So that's kind of like the bigger picture view of what I think anthropology really adds. I
think the best thing about education is that it does engulf you in so many like cultures and stories and the types of people, and it makes you more empathetic to a lot of people. And I think that's one of the best things about anthropology and the social sciences, is that you get to learn about stories and studies and things that you maybe never thought about in a specific way before. So even if things don't necessarily affect you in the way that you are, doesn't mean it doesn't affect somebody else in a different way. I think empathetic was the best word you could use. So it really brings that like a perspective of empathy, so that you can strive to understand others and what not just what they're saying, but what value they bring, like why they're in the conversation, why they should be there, and why you should care about it. So I think that's definitely a big part of it. So one of the things that I really enjoy about anthropology specifically is that a lot of it is science-based. Because you can't argue with facts. They've been proven for
you can try, but you'd be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So talking about race, ethnicity, and like how this country has progressed. Like learning more, like the intro to anthropology class talked about why people look different, why some people are taller, shorter, light skinned, dark skinned, skinny or like fatter. All of that is
like variation, human variation,
and a lot of it is biologically like influenced, and not necessarily like worth. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I really loved learning about, because like I said, it's facts.
I mean, part of, and this is kind of true for all the social sciences, but part of what anthropology brings is a kind of a strong research, emphasis on the scientific method, and you learn research methods, and you understand like where this evidence comes from, where this information comes from. It's not like just opinion or anything like that. Like there's studies that are done, and you definitely have a strong emphasis on analysis and things like that. So I think students that come in and take anthropology, they're not going to be disappointed in terms of getting that strong research, scientific method background. And then you've got, I mean, people that go into, like, I'm biased because, you know, I'm a biological anthropologist, but people that go into the biological sciences, there's a lot there for them. Like, the field is growing tremendously, particularly with genetics. Like, that is a huge area that's just improving, and plus there's a lot of mashups, if I could use that word, with biology as a whole. So like people that are interested in anatomy, people that are interested in all sorts of stuff, like they can mesh up with anthropology and it'll work for them, like medical anthropologists and things like that. So
that's so neat. And whenever I used to think of anthropology, I always thought of bones in the past, and one thing that I've continuously learned is that it's not all based in the past. A lot of it has to do with our future too.
Oh, totally, yeah. It's like looking at, you know, modern people today, looking at human variation. There's so many topics that are applicable to our lives today. Like people that have an anthropology degree, when they go to get hired by a prospective, you know, job, that degree brings a lot of value because you're looking at a person that has like a multicultural perspective, right? Yeah. They know what research is, they know what science is, and depending on what area they've gone into, like if they're looking at a job in biology, they might have that little biological background. So it just depends on like what the student has kind of done. But it's a very versatile degree, I would say.
What further courses does what further anthropology courses do we offer here?
Oh, we offer a ton. The good news, okay, so this is like, yay, important news updates for anthropology. We are starting our new degree program. So we have a new degree program that's coming, that's almost through the final stages of approval. That is a Bachelor's of Science in Anthropology.
Awesome.
And that will be ready in fall 2021. That is what the projected time is. And if you have questions about the degree, if anyone does, you can email me. But there's also, I think, a webpage for the anthropology degree right now if you search on our website that has the degree plan and all that stuff. But that's kind of like the big news for anthropology here that I wanted to bring up. Yeah, because we have a minor and people can minor in anthropology right now. But soon we'll have a degree option available. And our degree is really nice and I don't want to say broad, but it's versatile in that it allows you to take many other electives. So if you're super interested in sociology, you can still take sociology electives. You can still take, you know, political science or criminal justice or whatever interests you. You have the flexibility in our degree plan to do that, which is, I think, pretty good. Even biology, psychology, you've got a lot of options. And so in terms of courses, we've got a huge range. We've got stuff in archaeology, in biological, and in cultural and like religious studies. We have a few religious studies classes that kind of overlap.
Yeah.
We've got some linguistics. We've got methods classes. So we've got all the classes you could ever want. Like one thing that's actually super fun for the spring, which I'm trying to let people know about, is we have an archaeological field school class.
Oh, wow.
So that is going to be in the first 8 week. So it's kind of unusual. First 8 week goes from January to spring break, but it's on Fridays only, so that it won't interfere with other classes students might be taking. But it's an archaeological excavation at a 1870s, 60s log cabin, which is about 5 miles from campus.
Yeah.
So we're meet on Fridays, and we basically do archaeology. We dig holes and screen the dirt and. So it's definitely a hands-on class. There's no lectures. It's all in the field doing archaeology. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's unique. We don't offer them every semester. This might be the last time that we're going to be at this particular site.
Okay.
Just because our permit has only a certain amount of time on it with the state. So yeah, that's a class that I'm hoping students come and take because, I mean, it's hands-on. You know, if you're tired of online, it's outside, so we're able to kind of social distance and all that. So yeah, I'm excited.
Gosh, these online courses.
Yeah, I know, and I'm teaching them in the spring too, but this is one where it's for sure not online.
That's so cool. Yeah. And I didn't even know that we offered anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it. This will be our third time ever doing a field school, and we do not do them every semester. So like if someone's like, oh, I would, now's the time if you want to do that, because it may not come up again for a bit. But yeah, so I got that. I got, what do I have? Biological anthropology. Mm-hmm. I've got ancient civilizations of Mesoamerica, which is really interesting. Cool. Yeah. But we got fun stuff every semester planned for anthropology.
That's awesome. So. And that's so interesting. I definitely think, for me personally, like, I love the different kinds of, like, religions and, like, ancient civilizations. I am a huge alien nerd. So
not aliens. She said the A word.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
My grandpa is still a big believer in aliens. So I grew up watching, like,
X-Files.
Yes, X-Files, Ancient Aliens on the History Channel every Friday morning. I was actually sent home in elementary school one day because I scared my entire class, thinking that the mothership was coming.
Oh my goodness!
In a very small conservative southern town.
Wow. Okay.
So
they sent you home. I'm sorry.
No,
that sounds so exciting though. I was gonna be like, oh my god, they're coming.
It was a big thing. So I think, but that's another reason why I love anthropology, just because, like you said, it's so broad and such a big range, and we're able to. I'm a big people person. I don't know if you could tell the small interaction that we're having, but I love talking to people, and you can really tell, like, your passion for the subject, and that's what I love about our professors.
It's funny that you bring up aliens, because usually we talk about them in an archaeology class just to be like, this is why, this is probably not aliens, but there is a class I've taught a couple times here called Archaeological Discoveries. Ooh. And that class kind of is like, famous discoveries and, like, around the world and all sorts of stuff. I haven't taught it for a while, but we did have a section on that about, like, pseudo-archaeology, and, like, we do discuss, like, hoaxes and potential, what's the word, conspiracies and that kind of thing, because it's kind of followed archaeology around. Like, anytime you talk about the past, they want, like, all the potential explanations, and some of them are pretty fantastical. So it's definitely interesting.
So it's just so cool. And like I said, I love getting to learn from people who are just as passionate as I am. And so it's good, but it's definitely like it equals out, because you said that professors love to teach about these things because the light in students' eyes whenever they learn something new. I feel like it's kind of the same, because I get to learn from somebody who's so passionate, who has done studies, who has read all of these things, who has this vast knowledge of things that I don't know about.
Yeah, it's kind of like if someone, it's like bad analogy, like someone's super interested in, like, a TV show or a podcast, and they finally find someone who wants to know about it or talk about it. It's what it feels like that. Like, we're so interested in what we do, and we just want someone to be interested too, so we can tell them about it and talk about it. And there's nothing like, if you have someone watching a TV show and they're like, oh my god, that show was great, thank you for recommending it. It feels the same. It's like the same feeling. But hopefully more important, because then people get to, like, this really changed my life, and this, affected my life course, my career, and then it gets more like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. It's different, but yeah. But
it's amazing, and I'm so glad that we have the professors that we do, and professors like you who really, like, want to reach out and talk to. You're welcome. 2 different programs and stuff. I was already very excited, because whenever you came in and talked during Dr. Shane's class, and then Carla sent me your email, and it said Dr. Jones, and I was like, okay, it's fine. I fangirled just a little, but that's just because, like I said, like, I love education, and I love the kind of passion and everything that comes along with it, and the way that humans are able to expand and get to really learn and know more about one another, because a lot of people think that differences are what... People think of differences in a negative way all the times, but that's not necessarily it. Like, differences are positive. That's how we learn, how we grow, how different things get discovered. I mean...
Yeah, it's like I like to think of it as, like, what people bring to the table, and, like, when they're at the table, they have a different experience. They have different experience, different ideas, different perspectives, and why wouldn't we want that? Why wouldn't we want the value that those people, that they bring? Like, all sorts of different people from around the world. Plus, when you've got people that are from different cultures interacting with each other, they also lead to new things, innovative things that never, were around before you had that discussion. So it's amazing to see students interested. Yeah.
So speaking of students, our final question.
Oh gosh.
It's it's just a general. I ask all of my guests this, like, what advice do you have for students?
What advice do I have for students? Well, you brought it up earlier, and I was like, ooh, that's, I think, what I'm going to say if she asked me that question. To use the resources that we have, to seek out the resources that we have, because, like you said, a lot of students don't find out, or maybe they know about it, but they don't try to use them until too late, and then they realize, man, I should have, did that sooner. I should have reached out sooner. So I would say that here we have so many good resources, and that they're all tailored specifically for our students, and we're such a good, like a smaller community that you actually will have the opportunity to talk one-on-one with somebody, which is unusual. Like you have other universities, you're waiting for months to get a chance to talk to somebody, and you may never talk to the same person again. So here, I mean, you could go and like meet your friendly neighborhood librarian and talk to the same librarian every time you go. And that's like amazing. So yes, the resources at the library, the writing center, your professors who actually do want to help you, contrary to what the memes say. We know what the memes are. We're listening to the memes, looking at them. But the resources that and just don't be afraid to try them. Like no one's saying that, oh God, now I'm forced to do the resource every time. Like you can try it, and if it's not for you, that's fine. But at least, you've tried it. So
it's free. Technically, it's I mean, your tuition pays for it, but you're paying for these things. Like a lot of people don't know, we have the counseling center, and you get 45 minutes a week with the counseling center. Even if you don't have, Dr. Amuna talks about this all the time, even if you don't have problems, like you don't have to be in the middle of a mental breakdown, I
mean, it's stressful right now. It's just stressful.
And it is. Sometimes it's talking to somebody who, like, knows you outside of your own interpersonal bubble is nice. It's really nice. And that's available. They're doing it online right now. The sessions are really quick. It's amazing. Like I said, we have the campus covered for students, which... and it helps their family. It's not just for the students. It's even open to the community, which a lot of people don't know about, but it is. And there's just so many things. Even the tutoring center, not even the writing center. The tutoring center, I know the biology tutor, and so if you go to a biology tutor, you're going to have her every time.
Awesome.
So if you're talking about a specific class or you ended somewhere, you can do that again. And I see her go above and beyond before appointments, trying to refresh her knowledge, trying to help students. And that's just...
I mean, I could shout out all day long to all our awesome resources, like our advisors at College of Arts and Sciences. We have some amazing advisors. They will help you if you're like, I don't know what to take. I have no idea. They are amazing. So, and they're, wonderful. So we've got so many different resources. There's no reason why you shouldn't be reaching out,
Because college is for everybody. I always want to scream that from the rooftops. It is for everybody.
Yes.
And even if you don't necessarily like academics, there's a ton of...
We have so many fun student activities here, like in groups and places where students can get involved, that aren't just in the classroom. Like they're outside of the classroom activities. So,
It's amazing. Well, I don't know if you have anything else to say.
I don't think so. Just like, hey, we have an anthropology program. Like that was like my main thing I wanted to really help students about.
I think you did a great job. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on and
thanks for having me.
Reaching out. So, all right, this is Kirstin signing off, and I will see you guys next week.
Bye.